Hey, guys, what's up, Team Epic Redemption? It's Dawn coming at you. Liz is sick tonight. She normally joins me. And I don't know if anybody else is planning to pop on. So hopefully you will catch this recording. There's going to be just some brief information for you. My intent tonight, if we had people on, was to hear about some of your goals. And what I wanted to hear about were what are your goals for February. So thinking about them now so we can start to implement a plan of action to hit our goals in February. Then what are our goals till Summit? Summit is in June. So that's a couple months out. And then what are your goals for the rest of the year? I want you to still think on those, and I want you to share them either with me directly, if I'm not your sponsoring coach, with your sponsoring coach. And if you feel brave, share them in the comments so we can have a discussion about them. But since nobody's on here to talk about them, we're not going to hammer yours out. And I'm going to be brief tonight because I'm actually, my husband and I are putting an offer in on our retirement house. And I'm going to have some papers to sign here electronically very soon. So I'm going to get to the meat of it. Today's Monday, so there's a National Wake Up Call today. And if you have not listened to the National Wake Up Call yet today or watched it live, it actually is in the Beachbody Coach 411 page. I was incorrect earlier and I said it was the Beachbody Champions page. Both of those pages are pages that you want to subscribe to. If you are looking to work your business, you're going to get some fantastic training and tips and news and notes and all sorts of information on there. But on the Coach 411 page, they are now showing the National Wake Up Call live through Facebook. You can always catch it through the phone line or through the podcast rerun or the replay line. So there's a ton of ways. Go back and listen. I got halfway through and then I got sidetracked by realtor stuff. But on the call today was Lindsay Matway, and she is just a phenomenal coach who has so many nuggets and so much information to share for anybody at any level of their business. You're going to take something away from it. So make sure you get on that call. Then the next thing I want to talk about tonight was I just wanted to talk a little bit about objections, because they're going to come, and they're going to come often, and they're going to come a lot. And if you are a coach, at least in my downline of personally sponsored coaches, I think just about every one of you told me no, probably more than once, about this coaching opportunity. And even before the coaching opportunity, many of you told me no when it came to joining my challenge group or making a purchase of any kind. I want us to start to change our mindset towards those no's. I want us to get excited about those no's. And I know that sounds so counterintuitive, but the first thing, we need to make sure that we are not getting overly emotionally attached to any of these scenarios. Now, I know sometimes I get a little bit emotional when it's somebody that I fully believe with all my heart needs this. And for whatever reason, they just won't go for it. You know, they just can't wrap their brain around it. And I get emotionally attached because it makes me sad, but not because they're telling me no, but because they're telling them no. So that's a little bit different, but I don't want you to get so upset and so emotional when somebody says they don't want to join the business opportunity or they don't want to join your Facebook group, because truly, like, over 90% of the time, it has nothing to do with you. Now, I'm not going to say 100% of the time, because I know that there are people that have asked me to do things and I just don't like them, so I'm not going to do it with them. But the reality is they're not saying no to you for the most part. They're saying no because they don't have a belief in the products. You know, they don't think they're going to work, or they don't believe in themselves. They don't believe that they'll have success. So I don't want you to get emotionally invested, but I want us to look for the no's, because there's a few reasons that those no's are exciting. First reason is, guys, that's an opportunity to then have a conversation. If you're not getting any answer from somebody, that's like the worst thing in the world. You send out messages, you make phone calls, you text, whatever it is, and somebody doesn't give you a yes or a no. Gosh, that's so frustrating. Because at least if they give you a no, you have a starting point. You have something to go on. You have somewhere to follow up with. You have questions that you can then ask. So I want you to hunt for them. It's okay to get a no. Many of my yeses were no's, and they were no's many, many, many times before they became a yes. So how do we handle some of those objections? What do we do about it? I listened to a really good call that was a lot of review stuff that was posted in the Empowered to Change page. And if you're not watching these calls, you're probably not watching those. But it was really a recap of a lot of Eric Worre's Go Pro book. And so I just want to share a few of the highlights about objections. And I took a couple notes here. Let's see. What I want you, as you're reframing this, I want you to look at these objections as an opportunity to build a relationship and an opportunity to educate a prospect. Just want you to see that's a cat when you see this weird thing popping up behind me. When somebody tells you no, it's a chance for you to, I know it sounds weird, but to build a relationship, to ask more questions, to talk to them. Our job is not to convince people that what we have is the best thing for them, even if that's what we believe. Our job is to provide information and education so that they can make the best decisions for them. Because the reality is this isn't the best thing for every single person out there. You know, there are people that are allergic to Shakeology. They plain and simple can't drink it. So it's not the right solution for them, right? But it's important that when somebody tells us no, we can start to peel back layers. We can start asking questions. Figure out why is it they're saying no? What is it they're saying no to? Is it because they have a misunderstanding, a misinformation? Liz, who's normally on here, she's sick tonight, but her very first challenge pack was somebody that was only going to get digital streaming. And then when she looked at it before she purchased it, she said, wait a minute, that's how much it is with the Shakeology. Well, there was a misunderstanding, and she didn't understand that $160 was a one-time. She was thinking in her mind it was $160 every month, right? So no's are an opportunity to ask more questions, get clarification, and provide education. So look at it that way. And hopefully that will help you feel a little more comfortable when you hear them. There's a few different reasons that people are going to say no. A lot of times people say no, guys, they say no out of reflex. It has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with the product. It has nothing to do with money. It's just a reflex action. And it sounds silly, but stick with me here. When was the last time you were in like a clothing store or any store for that matter, and a salesperson sees you and they ask you if you need any assistance? And without hesitation, you say no. Nope, I'm good. I'm just looking around. Or nope, I know what I need. More often than not, you probably could use assistance, but we're just trained to just say no. Nope, we're good. Without even thinking. I do it when I'm flat out looking for something that I can't find. I'll still say no. So don't always take that the wrong way. Then you're going to have some people that are going to try to question you because they want to sound smart. Like you'll talk to them about Shakeology and suddenly they're going to like become an expert on like organic stuff or, well, what do you use for your sweetener? And are you using, and they'll start to spew out some junk because they just want to sound smart, like plain and simple. I mean, they don't care about that stuff. Most of the time don't even know about that stuff. Very few people will you encounter that they care to the level that they're going to start asking you questions. Or they'll start to get super detailed down into the compensation plan. Like, well, what about this? And you're like, dude, it's just kind of their way of saying no, but it's an opportunity for you to peel back some layers, for you to ask some questions, for you to give some answers, to provide the education. When we're talking about the coaching opportunity, and even when we're talking about joining a challenge group, there's a couple things that are going to go through people's minds, and they're going to kind of have some questions. They're not necessarily going to ask out loud, but I want you to think about and be aware of. Some of why they're holding back are sorry, I was getting messages on my phone, is can I do this? Like, is this something I can do? Think about the first time you jumped in a challenge group and did a program. Probably somewhere along the way, you were thinking, can I actually do this? Same thing when it came to coaching. Can I do this? Right? So they're thinking about that. They're thinking when it comes to the coaching opportunity, do I know enough people? Do I know people that are going to want to do this? When it comes to, again, challenge group or the coaching opportunity, is this for real? Like, is this legit? We ask that all the time. Like, is this opportunity for real? Like, can I actually make money doing this? Or if I actually do this, am I going to lose weight? Am I going to feel good? Am I going to see results? Can I look like that person on TV? That's going to be a question that's going to come up. When it comes to coaching, how many of you wanted to know what kind of support am I going to get? Am I going to like have to figure this out on my own? Same thing when you jump into a challenge group. Am I going to have support? Like, is somebody going to help me out? Somebody going to help me figure out, like, these containers, they're confusing. What am I going to do? And then there's always, what's the catch? Like, what, this sounds too good to be true. You're telling me I get to eat all this food. I'm not going to starve. I only have to work out 25 minutes a day and I can look like that person over there. Like, what's the catch? Like, what's the deal? Same thing. You're telling me that I can work out, get in great shape. I can share what I'm doing with some people and then make money off of it. Like, what's the catch? Right? Be aware that these are common questions that are going through your prospects' minds, whether it's for a challenge group, whether it's for the coaching opportunity. By knowing that these are common questions, guys, you can start thinking about your answers to them. You can start answering those questions without them asking. You can say, you can tell them, hey, before I started doing this, one of the things that came to my mind was like, am I able to do this? Like, there's no way this is for real. There's got to be some kind of catch. And then you share your story. You talk about I watched that infomercial for 2 years. And I was like, there's no way I can do that. Like, parts of me yeah, maybe I could, but no, that's like too much dedication. That's like too much time. Share your story. Share what you did. Share how it worked for you. Answer those questions for them, even if they're not asking them out loud, because that's some of the stuff that's going through their head. As you're talking to prospective customers and prospective coaches, think about where you were. I know it's hard. I talk about this with some of our coaches all the time. I didn't buy into Shakeology from the beginning, and I could afford it, but didn't want it. So I need to remember when I'm talking about it, people are in a different place. They're where I was a couple years ago. So I need to put myself back in that place and speak the way I needed to hear the information, the way I needed to be educated. So then I could turn around and say, yeah, I believe it's great. It's awesome. I just don't want to buy it. I'm just not going to, whatever the reason, but we peel back the layer of the onions. I just want to make sure that I'm hitting some good points for you guys. A huge mistake that a lot of us make is when somebody tells us no, we walk away too fast. Somebody says no and we're like, okay, cool, no problem. And then we may never talk to them again. That person that you haven't talked to in 10, 15, 20 years, you hit them up on Facebook, you're talking to them and they say no, and then you don't talk to them again. Okay, so what's that telling them? They were only a potential sale to you. They were only a potential prospect to you. And then you disappeared from their life. You don't want to be that person. If somebody says no to you, continue to engage with them, continue to have conversation with them, continue to build that relationship with them. Because over time, they may come around. Over time, they're going to start seeing what you're doing. They're going to be paying attention to you. But in the meantime, what a cool chance it is to build a relationship. In this high-tech social media world, in this fast-paced world, too often we are not having real human connections. And when you start to have those real human connections, it's important for you, but eventually many of them will come around. And if they don't come around, they might know somebody that's going to come around. But if you hit up that friend that you knew 20 years ago, and then you vanish from their life, when they talk to the other people in your circle from 20 years ago, they're like, oh yeah, that Dawn? Yeah, she was talking to me for a minute. As soon as I said no, she disappeared. Don't be that person. Continue to connect. You also don't want to walk away too quick because, again, sometimes somebody says no out of reflex. Somebody says no out of misinformation. Don't just walk away. Our newest coach on our team, she signed up as a discount coach, but I talked to her for over a year. And then when she started in my group, she wasn't using a program she purchased from me. She was using a program that she borrowed and the equipment that she borrowed. And then eventually she was like, okay, I do want to do the streaming. Somebody had given her some Shakeology. She fell in love with it. Then we talked about the challenge pack. But if I walked away, I wouldn't have reconnected with that person, wouldn't have built a great relationship, wouldn't have helped somebody find the kind of success that I felt that started to change her life again. And then I wouldn't have another teammate on my team. I don't want to walk away too quickly. Part of what's going to help you with that is believing so strongly in this stuff, believing in the products, believing in the programs, but then believing in yourself. You need to believe that you can do it and this is important and that you want to stick around in that person's life because you know that it can be valuable to them. We need to continually remember it is not our job to argue. It is not our job to convince. Our job is to educate. Our job is to bridge that gap so that they have an understanding so that they can make the best decision for them at that time. And then again, you're going to continue to ask questions and peel back those layers. And we need to accept what somebody says and not project on them. How many times have you made assumptions and decisions for somebody before they've even given you an answer? How many times have you said, I know Shakeology is really expensive, but if you break it down, even though it may not be expensive to them, but you're projecting that you think it's going to be expensive. Or you say, I know this sounds like a lot of money. Well, no, maybe it doesn't. Don't assume that. Because then if it wasn't in their head, now it is. Now they're starting to think about, well, whoa, if you think it's a lot of money, then it must be a lot of money. So make sure that you're not projecting some of your fears and insecurities or some of your thoughts on them. So how do we handle any objection that ever comes our way? There's like a super simple formula. Any objection ever that comes your way, 4 things you're going to want to do. You're going to want to listen. You're going to want to relate to them. You're going to want to tell stories, and you're going to ask questions, right? So, of course, I didn't write down a good example, but first thing you're doing is listening. Listening with the intent to understand. You want to listen to what somebody's telling you to understand what they're telling you. Not just the words, but like the picture, the story. What is it that they're saying? When they tell you no, what are they saying no to? What is it that they're saying? You want to be able to relate to them. When somebody tells me, no, I can't afford it, or no, it's too expensive, I can then relate to them and then tell a story. Hey, I feel where you're coming from. And this is the magic formula, feel, felt, found. Hey, I feel where you're coming from. I thought that I couldn't afford it either. Or I didn't see the value in it until I started doing the research, until I started using it. And once I did, what I found was I actually was saving money on groceries, which I could then turn around and put into this shake. So again, you want to listen, hear what they're saying. What is it that they're saying? Relate to them, understand where they're at, put yourself in their shoes, tell a story using that feel, felt, found. Maybe it's not your story, but maybe it's a story of somebody you know. I wasn't in a financial situation, but I have friends that really had to scrimp and save to pay for their Shakeology. And they had to cut corners other places. So I was able to say, hey, my friend Sarah, she and her family were struggling. They were paycheck to paycheck, but this was important to them. They saw value in it, and they saw the huge benefits to their health and to their family. And so they were able to cut out, this dinner once a week. They were able to, and I shared their story. So if you don't have a story of your own that relates to that specific topic, use stories from our team. Use stories that you'll find in the Beachbody library, but share stories because people relate to the stories, not to all the facts. Don't give me facts and figures about Shakeology. Don't tell me that 85% of people said they feel healthier. It doesn't matter to me. Tell me that when you drank it, you had that boost of energy and you felt better to get through the day. Tell the story. Know the facts. Be able to share the facts, but they want the story. And then ask questions. After all of it, ask questions. Peel back the layer of that onion. Keep peeling back the layer of the onion. Find out where the struggle is. Find out where the misconception is. Sometimes I've had people, and I share all the time, I have people that I often find out they're pregnant before their families do because they're like, I can't do the program. And their excuse is, I'm pregnant. And I'm like, hey, that's awesome. I talk to them about some of the pre and postnatal programs that we have. But then I write down, and then I continue to check in with them through their pregnancy. How are you feeling? And just, and ask the general questions. Be genuinely interested, develop a relationship. Then when baby comes out, continue the conversation, because when they're ready to get into a routine again, when they're ready to drop some of that weight, you're who they're going to go to. And you're not doing it in an icky, creepy way, because if they don't come to you, you're still genuinely interested in them. So guys, that's kind of it. I know it's hard when I'm just talking to myself and I don't have a lot of examples and I can't take your examples, but just think about that. Don't be scared of the objections. Reframe your mind to understand that an objection is a great starting point. It gives you a point to start. It gives you a place where you can then ask more questions, build relationships, get clarification, and then educate. And then from there, it's going to be up to that person what they want to do. But just continue to ask questions and be there. Don't run away too soon. Now, hopefully this is helpful. If you have questions about this, if you want to talk a little bit one-on-one, do some check-ins with me, or if you're having conversations and you're like, I don't know what to do next, screenshot it, shoot it my way. We can talk through them, especially when it's over like Messenger, because you can have a little bit of time to figure out what you want to say in return. So hit me up if you guys ever have somebody that has questions and you're not sure how to answer them and you want to jump on a 3-way phone call with me or a quick Zoom chat. Let me know. I will make myself available to be able to help walk you through that with the customer so that you're comfortable, that you can learn the information and they can get the information they need to make their best decision. Guys, I hope you have an awesome night. I look forward to seeing hopefully more of you, at least Liz next week, as we're going to meet same time, same place. If you have a question or something specific you want me to address or talk about, let me know. If it's something that I can do a quick video sooner and pop it in the page, I will. Otherwise, we'll chat about it Monday night. You guys have a good one.